Welcome back to Conspiracy Theories and Chill. Today, we're going to discuss the biggest story going on right now that is being ignored almost entirely by the corporate-owned media: the arrest of Jeffrey Epstein. This arrest is not only a major victory in child sex trafficking, but Jeffrey Epstein is a very big and very connected fish. This so-called billionaire hedge fund manager was intimately connected to very rich and powerful people. 2 presidents of the United States have flown on his Lolita Express. Bill Clinton, for example, has been with Epstein to his pedophile island more than 20 times. This is huge. This story is massive. And since there is no such thing as real news anymore, and this arrest of Jeffrey Epstein that could implicate a lot of very powerful and influential people that control the media and hence control the narrative, it's not being spoken of. You have to search this story out. You have to do that more and more these days as real truth is eliminated in real time. But with this particular story and the disgusting violence against children involved, it is truly a disgusting display of the depths that our so-called news media has gone. This man, this monster, Jeffrey Epstein, abused untold amounts of young girls, preying on poor girls from trailer parks and runaways. He lured them back to his mansion with promises of money for massages that would get more and more sexual over time. He would then pay these children to recruit more children for himself and his pervert friends. But because this particular monster has very powerful friends, he has been able to get away with this sex trafficking ring for the elites of his for decades. And now that he's arrested for this again, yes, I said again, we'll get back to that later on, but now that they have him on even worse charges than before, there's crickets in the corporate media. Do yourself a favor and seek this story out and follow it. This story has the potential to uncover some very dark secrets of the elite predator class. This could expose some very powerful people. The list of people with ties to Epstein would shock you. This is current news, important news. But why is this story being covered on a conspiracy theory show? Well, this story, like countless others, actually started off as a conspiracy. Now, it has been long known and openly talked about that Epstein was a famous pervert. For years, I've been aware that he has a jet nicknamed the Lolita Express, and I've known that he has an island, and I have known that on that island are underage girls for the rich and powerful men he brings there to have sex with. Children. Underage means children. I think that gets lost here sometimes, so I wanted to drive it home. Point is, I knew all of that. For years I knew it, and I'm a nobody from Missouri. Do you think the FBI didn't know it? That they couldn't have stopped him? How has this man gotten away with these hideous crimes for so long? Well, in addition to having very powerful friends, he also most likely isn't a hedge fund manager at all. When you trace his background, you find some very interesting things.
The mystery of Jeffrey Epstein's wealth has never been clarified.
He started out as a Dalton teacher, right? A teacher at the private school in Manhattan.
Absolutely, absolutely. And he then went to Bear Stearns. He left Bear Stearns, the investment bank, under very mysterious circumstances. And what's interesting about that is that he seemed to have a curious power over the 2 gentlemen who ran Bear Stearns, James Kane and Ace Greenberg. And he was certainly questioned by the SEC back in the day.
The Securities Exchange Commission.
Yes, as to what he might have known about an insider trading case to do with a company called St. Joe's Mineral Corp, in which both Ace Greenberg and Jimmy Kane were also questioned. So, you know, this is a man who definitely trades in the knowledge he has over the rich and famous and uses it for leverage. He also introduces rich and famous people like Bill Clinton, like Donald Trump, to girls. You then asked me about the charges today. I think what's so interesting about the charges today is that they're the result, the indictments that are going to be unsealed are the result not only of the FBI's work, but of the public corruption unit, which does suggest, and obviously I'm speculating here, that bribery may have been involved. And why that's so important is, for me, who tried to expose this man for what he is back in 2000, and I was actually reporting it late 2002, the piece ran in 2003, is he has, ever since then, got away. He's been untouchable. His money has somehow bought him the ability to evade justice. And so I'm fascinated by the fact that the Public Corruption Unit has been involved in this investigation, as well as the FBI. One of the things that has haunted me is that there I was trying to expose this man in 2003, and the first FBI investigation, the one that got neutered by Alexander Acosta, didn't begin until 2006. So it's always been on my conscience that for 3 years, he molested hundreds of sort of helpless, poor women who were in no position to fight back against him.
So, as you can see from that clip, his billions most likely came from having valuable dirt on some very influential and, most importantly, very wealthy people. Now, what kind of people? We already mentioned Bill Clinton, but Donald Trump is also another well-known friend of Jeffrey Epstein's. Prince Andrew is another prominent figure tied to Epstein. He was also very well connected in Hollywood, too. Many big-name celebrities are connected to Epstein and have been known to fly on his Lolita Express. Chris Tucker, Kevin Spacey, Woody Allen, and Alec Baldwin, just to name a few. This goes deep. This story that the corporate-owned media is ignoring can blow the lid off the elite pedophile sex rings and the sex trafficking going on behind the scenes. This monster has been getting protected for a very long time. Trace that back and you'll find it leads to places that you wouldn't imagine. They have known for a long time what this monster was doing. They've caught him before.
In a year-long investigation, the Miami Herald says it has located 60 women who say they were molested or sexually assaulted by multimillionaire Jeffrey Epstein, several telling their stories publicly for the first time. One tells the Herald this is about justice, not just for them, but for, quote, other victims who aren't Olympic athletes or Hollywood stars. This is video of Jeffrey Epstein's home taken by investigators during a search of the multimillionaire's Palm Beach mansion. It is where Epstein was involved with at least 40 underage girls, some of whom he had sex with, according to court filings obtained by NBC News. Several of his accusers speaking out for the first time to the Miami Herald.
I was 16.
I was 16. I started going to him when I was like 14 turning 15.
A report from the Palm Beach Police Department alleges the girls were promised money in exchange for massages, and that a female who recruited young teens for the tycoon allegedly told one victim, "The more you do, the more you get paid."
He just laid down in his towel on his stomach, and he was just talking to people on the phone. When he flipped over, that's when he said, "Okay, you can go ahead and take off your shirt and pants."
The accounts include accusations from indecent exposure to inappropriate touching to rape. The then underage girls say they were lured by the cash.
My mother was on drugs at the time, and she couldn't provide for me, and I was pretty much homeless.
Former Palm Beach Police Chief Michael Ryder says many of the girls didn't know each other, but had the same story.
We believe that this would end up in a prosecution that would incarcerate Mr. Epstein for the remainder of his life.
Federal prosecutors even had a 53-page indictment ready to go, according to a court filing. But Epstein, a hedge fund manager who famously palled around with Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, and Prince Andrew, never faced those serious charges. Instead, a plea deal was struck. He pleaded guilty to 2 counts related to solicitation of prostitution, and only served 13 months in a county jail.
And he arranged it so that he got work release, which meant that he had a valet, a driver that he hired, pick him up at the jail every day and essentially drive him to an office.
The former U.S. attorney who approved the deal, Alexander Acosta, is now President Trump's Secretary of Labor and a possible pick for Attorney General. A Labor Department spokesperson tells NBC News that the U.S. Attorney's Office defended the deal across 3 administrations and pointed out that Secretary Acosta was asked about the plea deal during his confirmation hearing last year.
Professionals within a prosecutor's office decide that a plea that guarantees that someone goes to jail, that guarantees that someone register generally, and that guarantees other outcomes is a good thing.
The former Palm Beach police chief disagrees.
I think almost the entire system failed them.
The 2008 agreement protects Epstein and anyone who worked with him from federal charges. He is a registered sex offender, but can travel freely to homes in New York, Florida, and the Caribbean.
They had all of that. And he did weekends in jail, not even his whole sentence, 13 months. He got off with a feather slap on the wrist because he is well connected, because he's connected to these powerful people. And that is why they're ignoring it. They've got him again. They've got him again right now, and they've got him on bigger charges. They've got him on more this time. But this involves very powerful people, and we cannot let them bury this story. We have to be the media. Get out there and spread the truth. Expose Jeffrey Epstein and his powerful friends as the monsters that they are. Only us staying on top of this and keeping this out there, making sure these atrocities cannot be ignored, only that stops this. And this has gone on too long. This has the possibility to be the key to toppling the Luciferian agenda running our society into the ground. So get loud. Inform people about this case and let them know what the media is trying to hide. Support journalists and independent media outlets that are giving this story the attention that it deserves, and do all you can to spread this information. Thank you for watching. This has been Conspiracy Theories and Chill. If you shared, thank you very much. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos from this channel. We'll see you on the next episode right here from me on Things and Stuff.